Good morning, class. Today in math, we are working on lesson 5.5 out of your GoMath textbook. And you will need, if you don't already have them torn out, you will need pages 287 and 289. So pause the video and go grab those if you don't already have them. Okay. So today's lesson is on multiplying one-digit numbers by multiples of 10. All right. And most of you say, oh, I can do the tens trick. I can move the 0. I can count by tens. Yes, you can always do those things. But we want to look at some other ways to solve multiples of 10. Okay. Your essential question is, how can you model and record multiplying one-digit whole numbers by multiples of 10? Okay. The community center offers 4 dance classes. If 30 students sign up for each class, box those clue words. How many students sign up for class? Okay, well, how many equal groups are there? Well, there's 4 dance classes, so there's 4 groups. And then how many are in each group? Well, 4 dance classes, 30 students for each class means there's 30 in each group. Okay? So we're going to use base 10 blocks to model 4 times 30. All right, so you can see you have your base 10 blocks here. Each strip equals 10. And it says model 4 groups of 30. You might look at the way this is set up and not see 4 groups of 30. But let me remind you of our lessons about arrays. So you're going to label your array. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And we have 10, 20, 30 in each row. Okay, so look, 4 groups of 30, 4 rows of 30. Again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and then these are 10 sticks, so I'm going to count by 10. I have 10, 20, 30 in each row. Okay, all right, so they want us to combine the tens and regroup as 100 and 2 tens. Okay, now I want you to think about it this way. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 10 sticks, right? That's what they're talking about. So in all, you have 12 tens. Okay? But we want to regroup that to write our answer, because our answer is we can't write 12 tens. So how many tens would equal 100? Well, a 100 block is going to have 10 tens in it. Okay, we know that 10 tens equals 100. So I'm going to take all these tens that equal 10. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I like to cross them off because they're gone now. They're gone because we have replaced them with 100. Okay? So now I have 100, and then I have 2 tens. So how much is 2 tens? Well, 10, 20. So I have 120. Because I took these 10 tens, I want you to make them go away, and I changed them into 100, which only leaves me 2 tens left. So that tells me that 4 rows of 30, or 4 times 30, equals 120. So 120 students sign up for dance class. Now, if you want to check your answer, which I highly recommend, take your zeros away. Does 4 times 3 equal 12? Absolutely. Put your zeros back, and you are correct. Okay. Let's try finding 7 times 40. All right, so now they're going to show you what it looks like if you were to draw 10 sticks, okay? Because we don't expect you to draw them in 3D like this and draw a notch for each little part. You don't have to do that. So this is what 10 sticks would look like if you draw them. They just look like a stick, right? This is what we call a quick picture, okay? Because it's quick and easy to draw. Use a quick picture to record your model. Draw a stick for each 10. Draw a square for each 100. So the first thing that we want to do, we're finding 7 times 40. So that means it's going to be 7 groups of 40. So you should have 7 rows. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have 7 rows. 7 groups of 40 means I should have 7 rows of 40. So you should have 10, 20, 30, 40, and you do. So I have 7 rows of 40. Okay. Now it wants me to combine the tens, regroup 28 tens as blank hundreds and blank tens. All right, well, we know from up here that 10 tens will make a 100 block. So I'm going to take out 10 tens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are gone. I like to cross them off and not just circle them because I want to make sure that you do not count these because they now equal this. That's 100. And now let's keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the book already circled these for us, but I want to make it very clear where these 200s blocks are coming from. Okay? And make it very clear that we're not counting these anymore. So now I can see that I have 1, 2 hundreds, and let's count how many tens are left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 tens. So 200 and 8 tens. 8 tens is 80. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that means 200s and 8 tens is 280. So 7 times 40 is 280. Let's check our work. Take away your zeros. Does 7 times 4 equal 28? Yes, it does. Put them back. Okay. Now, because of the commutative property of multiplication, the product of 7 times 40 is going to be the same as 4 times 70. The only difference will be how you model it in your picture. Okay? Because 7 rows of 40 looks much different than 4 rows of 70. So don't forget that. All right. Let's keep going. Use place value in regrouping. Here we go. Now we're going to do 9 times 50. I want you to go ahead and double check their quick picture and see if they drew 9 rows of 50. Make sure you label it. Go ahead. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've got 9 rows here. I need 50. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Boom. I have 9 rows of 50. So correct. Okay, so it's saying, well, we could just use the place value and regrouping, and I could multiply the ones, which would be 0 times 9 is 0, and then multiply the tens. Okay, so I am going to move away from this and just focus on this to help you understand. And I'm going to rewrite it up here because I want it to be all done at once. They're saying put the big number on the top times 9. Now watch what they're doing. Just like with addition and subtraction, you're going to start in your ones. So you say 0 times 9 is 0. All right. Okay. And now you're going to go to your tens, except for the difference with multiplication is this number gets multiplied by each place value. So 10's up here, but still this is your multiplier. So 5 times the multiplier, 5 times 9. And that's 45, so it goes in front of here. And that's how you solve using place value. Okay? It's quite quicker and much easier if you can remember to do the steps correctly. So again, what we did is we multiplied the ones, and we said 9 times 0 ones equals 0 ones right here. And then we multiplied the tens. We said 5 times 9, or 9 times 5 tens, is 45 tens, which goes here, right? With me so far? So they regrouped the 45 tens as 400s and 5 tens. Okay? See, there's 4 in the hundreds and 5 in the tens. That's all they mean. That's all they mean, kids. 4 in the hundreds place, 5 in the tens place. Let me show you real quick with this picture. Remember, we can take out 10 sticks and make them into 100. So let's see. How do you want to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know that each row of 2 is going to equal 100 because each row has 50. So 2 rows have 100. So that's 1. Here's another row of 2. That's 2. Another row of 2. That's a third 100. And then there's one more row of 2. That's a fourth 100. So that leaves us with 4 hundreds and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens. 4 hundreds, 5 tens, 0 ones. Okay, because there's no ones here. Now, I've shown you a few different ways to solve these. And the nice thing about it is unless they ask you to draw a quick picture or to show a specific strategy, you can choose which strategy works best for you. Okay? So let's look at the share and show. Use the quick picture to find 5 times 40. Okay, so this is your quick picture. And you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of 10, 20, 30, 40, right? And they used the quick picture and they said all of these can be turned into 200s blocks. Okay, so that means we have 20 sticks here. Does that sound about right? There's 5, 10, 15, 20 sticks. Yeah, so these are gone. So now we have 200s, 0 tens, and 0 ones. All that's left are these 200s. Now to check it, you can cover up the 0 on the end. Is 5 times 4 equal 20? Yes, it does. Put the zeros back. Okay. Find the product. Use base 10 blocks or draw a quick picture on your math board. You can also use the zeros trick. You use the strategy that works best for you, okay? So if I'm using the zeros trick for this, I'm going to cover up my 0. I need to get a smaller thing to cover up my 0 with. Choose an eraser. Okay, I'm going to cover up my 0, right? 7 times 3 equals 21. Put the zeros back, 1 on each side of the equal sign to make them equal. So that means 7 times 30 is 210. All right, let's do the same here. Cover up my 0. 2 times 9. I know 2 times 9 is 18. Put my 0 back here. That means we put a 0 here to make them even Steven. 2 times 90 is 180. Okay. 8 times 40. Cover up your 0. 8 times 4. We've learned all these math problems. 8 times 4 is 32. Put your 0 back on both sides. You have your answer, 320. Let's go to this one. 4 times 60. Cover up your 0. 4 times 6. Well, we know that's 24. Put your 0 back there. Put your 0 here. And you have 240. Okay, now we're going to try the vertical method using place value. All right, like I said earlier, just like with addition and subtraction, you start in your ones. Here we go. 0 times 9 is 0. And then you're going to multiply your tens by your multiplier, which is your 9, your other factor. So 8 times 9, you actually might not know this one. We haven't memorized our 8s or 9s yet, so you can do your 9s trick. You could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put your finger down. You have 7 on this side, 2 on this side, So you know that it's 72. Okay? All right, look at number 7. Start in your ones. 0 times 7 is 0. Now you're going to multiply times your tens. 7 times 7 equals, do you know your 7 times 7s? We're learning 6s this week. So if I know that 7 times 6 equals 42, how can I use that to help me figure out what 7 times 7 is? Well, if I know 7 times 6 is 42, then I can add one more 7 onto this, right? So I know one more 7 is going to be 49. So that means 7 sevens is 49. If 6 sevens is 42, then 7 sevens is only 7 more. It's 49. Use the math facts that you know to help you solve the ones you don't. All right, go ahead and do number 8 and number 9 on your own. Pause the video. Press play when you're finished. All right, if you're back, you have these answers. Here we go. Start in your ones. 0 times 4 is 0. Now your tens. 9 times 4, we know this, 36. Start in your ones. 0 times 8 is 0. Go to your tens. 6 times 8. We're learning 6s this week. But if you can't remember, go back to this. We know that 7 6s is 42. So if I want to know how many 8 6s are, couldn't I just add another 6 onto 42? So 6 times 8 is 48. All right. Grab page 289. Okay, what I want you to do, okay, is I want you to go ahead and solve numbers 10 through 21 on your own using, well, for the horizontal ones, you can use whatever strategy you want. These you need to solve using place value. But solve 10 through 21. You're going to have to pause your video because this should take you a little bit. And then come back to check your answers. Go ahead. Okay. So for 10 through 13, I'm not sure which strategy you chose to use, but I'm going to use the tens trick of covering the 0 because I feel like that's easiest when they're written this way. So let me get my pencil. All right, so I'm doing 2 times 70. Cover up the 0. Well, what's 2 times 7? 14. Put your zeros back. So 2 times 70 is 140. Okay, 8 times 50. Cover up your 0. 8 times 5 is 40. Put your 0 back. 400. 3 times 90. Cover up that 0. 3 times 9, I know that's 27. Put your zeros back. If there's a 0 here, I put a 0 here. And you have 270. 2 times 80. Cover up that 0. 2 times 8. 16. Put your 0 back. 160. Okay, for 14 through 17, you should have done the place value method and started in the ones. So you would have said 0 times 3 is 0. And then your tens place, 8 times 3 is 24. And your 80 times 3 is 240. Number 15, start in your ones. 0 times 9 is 0. Go to your tens. 6 times 9, you're learning that this week, is 54. So 60 times 9 is 540. 90 times 8, starting your ones. 0 times 8 is 0. Go to your tens. 9 times 8 is, oh, we don't know those yet. We don't have them memorized, I should say. So let's do our nines trick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On your 10 side, you have 7. Your ones, you have 2. So 72. So 90 times 8 is 720. 80 times 8, starting your ones. 0 times 8 is 0. And then your tens, 8 times 8. Well, I know 9 sets of 8 is 72, right? So if I take away a set of 8, that should tell me that answer, right? Okay. 12 minus 8, 4. So I know that 8 sets of 8 is 64. Okay. Now, for 18 through 21, you could have used whatever strategy you wanted. Okay, when it says copy and solve, that means you can copy it on a whiteboard or another piece of paper and solve it how you want. You could draw your 10 sticks if you wanted to, or you could just right here do your 10 trick with the covering the 0 and then putting the 0 back and then writing your answer. So let's check your work. No matter what strategy you did, you should have gotten the same product. 60 times 70. Well, what's 6 times 7? I know that's 42. Put my 0 back. Boom, 420. 9 times 90. Well, cover your 0. What's 9 times 9? You're not sure. We haven't memorized those yet, so let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That leaves 8 tens and 1 1. 8 tens and 1 1 would be 81. Put your 0 back. 810. Okay, 70 times 8. Well, whoops. What's 7 times 8? Well, let's go right back up here. We know that 8 times 8 is 64. So what if we take away another set of 8? So instead of 8 sets of 8, we want 7 sets of 8. So let's take another set of 8 away. Okay, what's 14 minus 8 is 6, and you have 56. So that means 7 eighths is 56. Put your 0 back, 560. See how I'm using facts I've already solved or I already know to help me find unknown facts. 90 times 70, cover up that 0. 9 times 7, we haven't memorized our 7s yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put the 7th finger down. That leaves you with 6 tens, 3 ones. So 63. Put your 0 back. 630. All right, so let's look at our algebra section. Find the unknown factor. Remember, the unknown factor can be represented by a letter, a symbol, a picture, any of those things. So A times 80 equals 48. We want to know what A equals. Well, I want to know, cover your zeros, and now ask yourself, what times 8 equals 48? And that's a fact you've done this week, so you should know this. What times 8 does equal 48? Well, 6. So if I put 6 in, 6 times 8 equals 48, and I put the zeros back, that makes sense. So 6 times 80 is 480. Okay, look at this one. B times 30 equals 30. Wait a minute. I mean, you don't need to do this for this one because it's pretty simple, but let me just show you. If you covered up your zeros and ask yourself, what times 3 equals 3? Guys, what property says that this number times any number equals that number would be the identity property. The identity doesn't change. So the identity property states that any number times 1 equals that number. The identity doesn't change. So that means B has to be 1. Does 1 times 3 equal 3? Yes. Does 1 times 30 equal 30? Yes. 7 times what equals 420? We'll cover up that 0. Is there any 0 to cover up over here? There is not. So that means we're going to have a 0 in our answer. Okay, because it's got to be even Steven. If I have a 0 on the end here, I'm going to have a 0 on the end here. So 7 times what equals 42? I know that 7 times 6 equals 42. So I'm going to put 6 here. But when I take away this finger and I have a 0 here, I have to have a 0 on this side for it to make sense, because 7 times 6 does not equal 420, but 7 times 60 would equal 420. So since there's not already a 0 on this factor, then I know it has to go on the missing factor. 50 times what equals 0? Well, what would equal 0? How do you get the product of 0? Well, that would be the 0 property. Any number times 0 equals 0. So that means 50 times 0 is the only solution here. Okay? All right. Let's do some word problems. Ava's class bought 6 packages of balloons for a school celebration. Each, box those clue words, package has had 30 balloons. If 17 balloons were left, remember if something's left, that's a subtraction clue, over how many balloons, there's your label, were used for the party. So this is a two-step problem. I can't subtract 17 from anything because I don't know how many balloons we started with, right? So that means the first thing I have to figure out is what is 6 times 30? Because I had 6 packages with 30 balloons in each. So to find out how many balloons I started with, I need to solve 6 times 30. So if I cover my 0, I have 6 times 3, which I know equals 18. And then when I put my 0 back here, I put it back here. So that means I started with 180 balloons. But that's not how many balloons were used for the party. When the party was over, there were 17 balloons left. And I know the clue word left means I'm going to subtract. So I need to take this 180 and I need to subtract 17. Now, I'm a good mathematician, so I'm not going to just do this in my head. I'm going to go over on the side where I have find some empty space and work out this problem. 0 minus 7, I can't do it, so we need to regroup. 10 minus 7, that's better. 7 minus 1, 1 minus nothing. All right, so I know I started with 180 balloons. At the end of the party, there were only 17 balloons left, which means that 163 balloons, remember, look at your question for your label, 163 balloons were used for the party. I'm also going to circle this because this was a multi-step problem, and I need to make sure that whomever is reading my paper can find my final answer. Okay, 27, sense or nonsense? Lori says that 8 is not a factor of 80 because 8 does not end in 0. Does Lori's statement make sense? So remember, a factor is something that can be multiplied to equal that number. So can I multiply something times 8 to equal 40? So how you would ask yourself that is you would say 8 times, let's do box, equals 80. Can I solve this? Can I solve this? Cover up your 0. 8 times what equals 8? 1. Put your 0 back. 10. So does 8 times 10 equal 80? Yes, it does. So does Lori's statement make sense? No. We have to answer that. No. And then it says explain. So I'm going to put a comma so I can explain it. And I can explain that 8 and 10 are both factors of 80. Okay? All right. The book club members read 200 books in all. Each member read 5 books. Write an equation to find the number of members in the book club. Use a letter to stand for the unknown factor. So let's use the letter M for members, okay, because we want to find the number of members, right? So if it was 200 books in all, right, then I know that it's going to have an equal sign to 200. 200 is the total. It's the biggest number, so we can start there. Each member read 5 books, but how many members are there? So each member read 5 books. So that means we need to find out how many members, because they each read 5 books each to equal 20. So you want to find out M times 5 equals 20. So now let's find that answer, shall we? Okay, I've written my equation. This is an equation right here. This is when it says write an equation. That's it. Shows the unknown factor, M. It doesn't matter. You could have used box or X, or, well, not X because the multiplication sign's right there. That'd be a little confusing. But any letter or symbol you wanted, that doesn't matter. I used M for members. So I'm going to use my zeros trick with my tens trick. Cover up that 0, and I'm going to say what times 5 equals 20? Well, I know 4 times 5 equals 20. But if I put the 0 back, I have to put a 0 here. So it would actually be 40. So I know that 40 times 5 equals 20. So that means that M equals 40, and their label is members. And if you want to check your work, you can write it down here and ask yourself, does 4 times 5 equal 20? Yes, put the zeros back and you're good. All right, have a good day, class.